Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the dungeon of fucking swamp ass. It is currently 98 degrees here in Germany. It's humid. Air conditioning does not exist in this country. The swamp ass is in full blast right now, but we are going to continue this running back rankings video. Last week we did do the top 12, so head over to the channel. I might put it up somewhere behind me. You can check out the top 12. There's a couple of contrarian picks, but for the most part, it looks pretty uniform like most of the industry. And in this video, we're going to be doing the next 12, so 13 through 24. So let's lock in, bro. Let's tap in. If you guys like this video, I would super appreciate a like. Stick around for the rest of the offseason. We're going to be pumping out a lot of videos. We're going to be going deep into the research, deep into the sheets. And let's start this video, man. And at the top of this list, let me just first switch over to my trusty little tier maker. So we're doing this in tiers. Everybody fucking does tiers, dude. Tiers are the way to go, I guess. People like the visualization. Anyway, as I mentioned at the end of the last video, I was really debating between the 13th and the 12th guys. So Bryce Hall is at the start of this video. He's at the top of our list. Now, Bryce Hall, what can I say about him, man? Hyper talented, massive name coming out of college, explodes onto the scene in his rookie season, just absolutely fantastic, dynamic, busting off big runs left and right, big touchdowns. He's now heading into his fourth year, believe it or not, dude. So Bryce Hall, a very turbulent, very up and down type of career, but I think with Aaron Rodgers gone, there is a little bit of optimism for Bryce Hall looking forward, right? So Bryce Hall still, despite having a pretty poor season, 15th in explosive run rate last season, 5th in receiving yards. So he still was actually pretty involved, still was doing enough, even with Aaron Rodgers. And, they were kind of working in Braylon Allen and even working in Ty Johnson. So he didn't really have, a stranglehold on the backfield. But I predict kind of a turnaround, like a return to his year one Bryce Hall status a little bit, right? I don't think he's going to be quite where he was. Otherwise, he'd be like a top 5 pick, obviously. But at the 13th ranked running back, I think Aaron Glenn coming in now as the coach, he hinted at a committee in 2025, but I do think Hall's talent is just going to win out eventually. They're going to realize that he's the dude who represents the biggest big play potential, explosive play potential. Braylon Allen did not really chart well on any advanced metrics, so I do imagine Bryce Hall just coming back, getting just a lot of volume, a lot of opportunity. He's got Justin Fields to help keep linebackers honest, so that's why I have Bryce Hall up here. I'm just banking on the potential that Bryce Hall is still a very good running back. He's still very fast. He's still, can bust off big runs, and I think that's going to come in handy, man. So that's why I have Bryce Hall here. And the next dude is James Cook on the list. Now, the reason I don't have James Cook higher, the reason I have him at 14th, is because everything around James Cook is perfect, right? Perfect opportunity, one of the best offenses, best quarterback. Just he's got high touchdown upside. He can repeat what he did, right? He had 16 rushing touchdowns last season. So the reason I don't have him any higher, right? Like you would expect a dude like James Cook to be like a top 6 running back, right? Like the top offense, and then you're like the workhorse running back. But I'm just a little bit concerned, man. I think he's going to regress a little bit in the touchdown department. And because of that, because you have Josh Allen potentially taking touchdowns from him, because I think the Bills want to be like a pass heavy team. They want to really utilize the strength of the team, which is Josh Allen. And let's see what Keon Coleman can do in year 2, right? Let's see what some of these other younger pieces can do. They do bring in, Khalil Shakir is still there. Yeah, so despite the fact that he had 16 touchdowns, he was essentially their workhorse. I do think they want to get Ray Davis more involved. They want to use him as like a bruising running back, taking a lot of those gritty type between the tackles first down runs, which makes sense, right? You use Cook as kind of a gadget player, let him create in space, and that's why he's the 14th ranked running back, right? I don't have him buried in the fucking rankings over here. So I just think, he only had 4 games last season with 20 plus touches, which is not what we want to see. Like it would be so ideal if the dude was 20 touches and up every game, right? That would be like, all right, smash this dude as a top 6 running back. So that's why I'm a little bit concerned. I just imagine that they get Ray Davis a little bit more involved. Some of the other receivers take just another step forward, right? A little bit more Shakir, a little bit more Dalton Kincaid, bro. I mean, at some point they're going to have to be using Dalton Kincaid, right? Like the dude was just non-existent in year 2. So that's why I have James Cook here at 14. I really can't put him any lower just because of the state of that offense, right? How much upside there is in that offense. Which brings us to the next guy who's kind of This one's tough, man, because this guy always proves everybody wrong. We keep ranking him low, but he keeps proving us wrong, and it's Alvin Kamara, man. At the end of the day, dude, Alvin Kamara is probably one of the best pure running backs in the NFL, one of the most skilled, dynamic running backs. He still has that fantastic low center of gravity, the jitteriness, the shiftiness. He is still Himothy, but I don't know, man. There's something about this Saints team. Just the vibes are not great, dude. They don't know who their quarterback's going to be. Alvin Kamara is going into his year 29 season. Now, 29 is not horrible for a guy like Kamara, in my opinion. He doesn't take a lot of big hits. Like, through Kamara's entire career, he's remained relatively healthy because of the way he plays. He avoids contact when contact's coming toward him. He's really shifty. He's really good at like jumping under contact, getting out of bounds. He's mostly a receiving running back, so he's not taking a lot of like the between the tackle stuff. They tried to turn him into like a workhorse running back last season where he was getting a lot of between the tackles early down work, and it didn't work out well for him, right? It wasn't really his forte. I do think either Kendra Miller or Devin Neal end up getting a lot more work, even fucking CEH, dude, which is why I don't have Kamara higher, right? That's why I don't have him as like a top 10 guy anymore. I just think at some point, dude, the team has to make somebody else relevant behind Kamara, and that's my only concern, man. He's still going to get the reception, so if you're in any type of PPR format, Kamara is absolutely fantastic, the perfect type of running back before kind of like a little bit of a tier break, right? And there's two more guys in this tier that I want to talk about, which brings us to the next player, which is Chuba Hubbard. I fucking love Chuba Hubbard, dude. He helped me win a fantasy championship last year. I picked him up off of waivers after week 1. He was dropped by my league mate. Carried me to the promised land. I absolutely love Chuba Hubbard. So Chuba Hubbard is one of the last few guys who's like a workhorse running back who's going to also get receiving work, which is why I love him as like a round 3 or even round 4 pick. Like if you have to dip into the dead zone, Chuba, if he's still there, I'm okay to take him, right? So RB13 fantasy points per game. Had that really bad week 1. So I don't know. Still, RB13 is not bad, right? He had some explosion games where he was very involved. So Chuba Hubbard's great, man. And top 5 in snap share, dude. And he was 3rd in snap share and 4th in opportunity share. So he's an absolute workhorse, bro. Nothing else needs to be said. They don't really have anyone behind him. They've got Trevor Etienne. Jonathan Brooks coming off another ACL injury. He's going to be out for the season. So Chuba's locked and loaded as a workhorse running back on an ascending offense. So I think the Panthers are going to be pretty good this year, man. I was about to say really good. Fuck no. But Bryce Young ascended, man. At the end of last season, like the second half of the season, Bryce Young was like a top 10 quarterback, man. He was great. Great. And now they bring in Ted McMillan, or Ted Aroa, whatever the fuck his name is, McMillan. I don't know how you're supposed to say his name, to be honest. As, you know, a top 10 draft pick, right? So the dude is going to be an alpha wide receiver for them. He's got the alpha type body, right? He's an typical X receiver or big slot, however they want to play him. So that's going to help open things up even more, right? It's not going to be like sell out to stop the run where they really didn't have many wide receivers to speak of. So it's an ascending offense. He's a workhorse. And I think that they can really improve on a lot of the metrics, right? So last season, 24th in yards per play and 21st in red zone attempts. I think they're going to be both those. I think they're going to be top like 16 in both categories. So that means more touchdown opportunity, more fucking touchdowns, more red zone visits. It's just going to be a better offense in general. And I love taking a guy like Chuba where he's such a value, man. He's going to like the 3rd, 4th round. You get him like right at the beginning of the dead zone where, in my opinion, I'm still very confident taking Chuba. So the next player on the list, a very similar type profile, but with a little bit more depth concerns, it's Kenneth Walker. And I'm going to keep Kenneth Walker in tier 4 because I see all 5 of these guys in tier 4 as like equally valuable in similar situations. They'll have a couple of knocks on them, but for the most part, they're like going to be, you know, high volume guys. They're going to get a majority of their work, and they're pretty diverse. So that's why I like this tier 4 of running backs to get. It's like the last of the tier where you then want to start glancing over at tight end, quarterback, wide receiver, right? So let's talk about Kenneth Walker, man. So RB12 in fantasy points per game. He was helped greatly by his receiving work. The dude he was a dump off king, bro. Absolute dump off king last season. He got so many receptions. I think there were some games where he had over 10 receptions or close to it at least. So he led the NFL in missed tackles, man. He's a fantastic, skilled running back. Ball in his hands, open field. He can make dudes miss better than anyone. He's got big play potential, so he can bust off big plays. You can make the fucking argument, dude, that Kenneth Walker could flip Bryce Hall. Like, you can put Kenneth Walker at the top of this tier. Now, what are the concerns? The concerns are that Zach Charbonnet is very competent, dude. When you have a handcuff or a backup running back who is competent and can be a 3-down back and has shown that he can be very productive, it's difficult to rank the primary guy any higher, man. It's difficult not to be a little bit scared to draft him, where you're always going to be like, fuck, man. I either need to make sure I can draft Charbonnet later, or I just got to pray that Kenneth Walker is just so much better than him in the eyes of the coaching staff that he's just going to remain the primary guy, which is a dubious proposition, man, because you never know what can happen, dude. If Kenneth Walker has a few games where he gets a little banged up, man, maybe he injures an ankle, and it's not like, an injury that keeps him out, but it keeps him on the field and he's kind of hampered and Charbonnet just looks better, they might just move to him, dude. It's possible that can happen. So, when you're drafting your RB1 or even your RB2, ideally you want to draft a dude who doesn't really have someone behind him that can just simply outplay him, right? If he goes down to injury, fine, dude. You fucking, you pack your bags, dude. You shake hands and you accept, you accept the reality that we're in. But if a dude can just straight up outplay your guy, that's why I think he's a little bit of a riskier pick, man. So, but if he's healthy, dude, 10th in yak per attempt. So the dude, he doesn't go down on first contact. So he's efficient, in terms of a runner and a receiver. And if he's healthy, dude, I can see this guy being like a top, dude, dare I say a top 5 guy. If he gets the work and he stays healthy, he's just such a talented running back, man. It's just, the as I mentioned, all the negatives, plus it's the Seahawks, right? It's Sam Darnold, it's the Seahawks. Not really the type of offense you want to be hanging your hat on, right? He could outproduce his projections for sure, but it'll be a little bit of a surprise if he ends up being a top 5 running back. I'd say top 10 is possible. I'll reframe that. And the next player on this list, this is essentially where the dead zone starts to me. This is where you have like your volume-based RB2s and, spoiler, some rookies. So keep that in mind, dude. We'll do a separate video on the dead zone and how I like to approach the dead zone and how typically I like to avoid it, but there's a couple guys I like to take. Ron Stewart, one of my fucking idols, absolute GOAT. He calls it taking a detour. He says, like, avoid the dead zone, but if you need to take a running back, he calls it a detour, where it's like, this is the type of profile you want. And the next names I'm going to list kind of are that. That's why I have them ranked here. Normal ADP wouldn't have these guys here. But anyway, James Conner is at the top of the tier. What can we say about James Conner, man? The dude has just, every season since he's come in the league, I've always doubted him. I've always thought he's kind of just a guy, but he is not, dude. He is absolutely him. One of the toughest, grittiest, respected running backs in the NFL. Doesn't matter that he's almost 30. The dude just continues to be a top 12 running back anytime he's on the field, dude. RB15 in points per game. He had 283 touches. Dude, surprisingly, this is something I did not know. Finishes the season with 1,500 total yards in 2024. The dude was the offense, man. He was the engine of this Cardinals offense. Second in missed tackles, man. Dude, let me say that again. Second in missed tackles forced per attempt. 6th in explosive run rate for an oversized, physical, between the tackles guy like James Conner. He's an anomaly, dude. James Conner is an absolute physical anomaly. He's big. He's a between the tackles bruising running back, but he can make dudes miss. He can catch the ball. Dude, there was one play, maybe I'll put it up, I probably won't, where he hits a dude with like a fake inside out route in the end zone, one-handed catch, touchdown, dude. Like, the dude is out here doing fucking Odell Beckham shit, man, as a goddamn oversized running back. Like, what are we talking about, man? And anyway, he retains this strong receiving game role. He catches passes. He gets volume. It's just the age, man. That's why I can't put him higher. Like, we're going to keep betting against this dude every season. We're going to keep saying, all right, this is the year he falls off. This is the year he falls off. And I truly do think it could be this year. Now, another year of Trey Benson getting a little bit more solidified. Maybe they want to give him more work. Start to, tip the scales just a little bit toward Benson. Give a little bit more work to Benson. See what they got in him. And, James Conner has a little bit of health issues. As I mentioned, he's such a physical running back. He's like essentially not guaranteed, but you can pencil him in for missing a couple games this season, pretty much every year. He's only played 14. He only played 14 plus games once in 2021. So, I mean, as I mentioned, make sure you get his handcuff if you do draft him. Make sure he's not your RB1. Make sure he's like your RB2. and you're just basically hoping that he remains a volume-based RB2 engine of the offense. A little bit of a risky pick, though. And the next player is somebody who I might have to start putting this guy higher on my list. He might end up in tier 4. Omarion Hampton. The more I think about this Chargers team, the more I get excited, and the more I think about Omarion Hampton late at night when I'm alone in my room in the dark. He's entering one of the best situations any rookie running back can enter, right? So first round pick, joins the Chargers, who have one of the better O-lines. They have one of the better quarterbacks. They have a solid little young receiving group with Trey Harris or Trey Smith. I'm sorry, I'm a noob. And Ladd McConkey. Okay, they don't have a tight end, but who gives a fuck? So one of the better offensive situations, right? He's second in missed tackles forced per attempt and 6th in explosive run rate from college. So these are his college stats. 11th in yak per attempt in yards per route run among running backs. So he can actually catch the ball, dude. He's not just like a huge between the tackles Derrick Henry type running back, and he's massive. Keep that in mind. This man is huge, dude. He's a big James Conner type build running back. That's why I have him ranked next to James Conner. Now, obviously, the fucking elephant in the room is Najee Harris. They do sign Najee Harris to a respectable contract. They bring him in. Najee Harris is still relatively young. Najee Harris usually commands that early down running back, the between the tackles guy. So you bring in a guy like Omarion Hampton, who's got a 3-down skill set. You already have a guy like Najee who also has a 3-down skill set. You're banking on the rookie to win out. You're banking on this coaching staff saying, yeah, we brought in Najee early in free agency because, we wanted to solidify a 3-down back. But then we saw that this dude, Omarion Hampton, was still on the board, and we wanted him. We were targeting Omarion Hampton. All right, okay, that free agent signing, maybe that's just our kind of backup, our insurance policy, while Hampton is actually the primary. So that could happen. But here's the thing, man. Here's my philosophy on fantasy football. When you're drafting middle round players or even late round players, you want to approach it in this way, dude. You want to approach it that don't draft where you're expecting week 1 volume. Don't draft with that in mind. Don't draft thinking like who's going to be a week 1 starter and that's who I'm going to rank higher. That's who I'm going to take. You got to be thinking about like weeks 8 and on. Weeks 8 and on is why you draft. That's how you should be approaching players, man. So when you're debating between a rookie wide receiver and like an older vet, you're like, all right, well, the older vet is going to get immediate work early in the season. And the rookie might not do shit for a couple of years. Or I'm not going to take a Mecca Egbuka. I'd rather take fucking bust stop Magoo, right? You can't think of it that way, man. You have to think about fantasy football like I want to win a fucking championship, dude. I don't want to be the guy wearing a goddamn fucking cheerleader outfit in a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles at 2 a.m. because I got last place in my fantasy league. I don't want to be that guy, dude. I don't want to be running a beer mile, dude. I'm fat. Fat people should not be running. Okay, we should. The drinking offsets the running, but I don't want to be doing a beer mile. I don't want to get last place in my fantasy league. I want to win. And that's why you need to be drafting guys like Omarion Hampton, who we expect, dude. It's like happened time and time again that these highly drafted rookie running backs or wide receivers become full-time, full volume workhorse players as the season progresses. So as week increases, or as the week increases, like week 1, week 2, week 3, fucking usage increases for rookies. So just keep that in mind, dude. That's why a lot of the names I'm going to be listing in the next couple minutes are going to be rookies. That's just a spoiler alert. The next one is RJ Harvey. I kind of cut that short with Omarion Hampton, dude. He's, Greg Roman offense, top 11 in rush attempts. They want to run the ball. Omarion Hampton, we'll close that out. Next one is RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey enters a similar situation to Omarion Hampton except he doesn't have a Najee Harris to contend with. He joins the Broncos, where the Broncos were very excited about RJ Harvey. I mean, RJ Harvey has already, I think, clapped cheeks with Sean Payton's daughter. She posted a selfie with him. I'm assuming he hit. I'm assuming. And with that in mind, dude, how does he not be the workhorse, dude? After he was balls deep in Sean Payton's daughter, man, how is RJ Harvey not the primary ball carrier for this Denver Broncos offense? I got to edit that out for sure, dude. Yeah, man. So I'm fucking stun locked right now. All right, round 2. Sean Payton loves this guy. Competition is Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin. Laugh out loud, dude. Both of those guys are non-factors, which is exactly what you want in a dead zone running back. Rookie, expected high volume, nobody really behind them. You know, maybe not a 3-down role for RJ Harvey. Maybe Jaleel McLaughlin takes the 3rd down work. He's still like a nice little shifty player. You know, he's shown that he can be something for them. So maybe he doesn't get that. And that's why I have him here at RB19, right? Because I don't expect him to get a true 3-down role, right? But so to argue with myself here a little bit, Sean Payton force feeds the ball to his running backs in terms of receptions, in terms of targets and receptions. To put it in fucking perspective, dude, Javonte fucking Williams, man, the corpse of Javonte Williams got 70 targets last season. 70 targets, man. One of the highest targeted running backs, still only averaged like 8 fantasy points per game. I don't know how that's even possible, but what if that happens, man? What if RJ Harvey does end up being like the lead back for them and they do just feed him targets, man? That gives him such a nice floor, you know, along with the fact that this Denver Broncos offense is expected to be really good, dude. They have a really good offensive line. Bo Nix, dude, taking another step forward as one of my favorite year 2 quarterbacks to be targeting in fantasy in general and just in real life as well. I think Bo Nix is just such a great quarterback. It's such a good system that's so friendly to fantasy players. So that's why I love RJ Harvey. Which brings us to the next rookie. We're going back-to-back rookies, essentially. It's Treyvon Henderson, man. Treyvon Henderson, I was debating where to put him, dude. I was thinking about putting him above Connor. I ultimately passed on that, but going with the same philosophy that I shared earlier, you want to draft guys who are going to be good from weeks 8 and on or 10 and on, whatever, right? The second half of the season, the post-bye week, if it's a late bye week. Now, Treyvon Henderson is an absolute speed demon. He's an absolute athletic freak. He ran a 4.38, posted a 96.3 grade on gap runs, which is what this team runs, right? This New England Patriots team is expected to be a gap run offense. He had elite burst, dude, breakaway potential. He can, he busts off big runs. The dude is just an absolute fantastic athlete, and he joins a backfield which unfortunately has Ramondre Stevenson already there, who's a 3-down back. Now, I might not like Ramondre Stevenson. I've made a living, dude. I made a killing shitting on Ramondre Stevenson, but he is a 3-down back, and he's a big back, right? So he's a dude who's liable to take red zone work and goal line work from Treyvon Henderson. But if Treyvon Henderson can carve himself out a little receiving role, just pop off the screen, dude, make big plays. I think this team is they have to give him more work, right, as the season progresses. And then obviously you have the contingency value where if anything were to happen to Ramondre, Antonio Gibson is not really a factor. He's a little bit of a factor. He's not horrible, right? He's still got some burst, some speed. He's still like a dude that this team likes. But yeah, I just think Treyvon Henderson, dude, they drafted him so early. He's so explosive. He's the best running back on this depth chart for sure. Ramondre Stevenson has had declining PFF grades every season since his rookie year. So I just can't imagine them continuing and keeping Ramondre Stevenson as a part of this offense, dude. It's time to move on, man. Drake May, Kyle Williams, Polk. You got this young core, dude. Let's move on to Treyvon, man. And I think they will do it as the season progresses. And that's why I don't really know where to rank Treyvon. I kind of want to put him at the top of tier 5. Let me know what you guys think, dude. This tier, I feel like this video is vital, dude. These players can either make or break your fantasy season. So I want to know what you guys think. I want to know where you would put Treyvon if I'm too low on some other players who would typically be in this tier, in this like RB 12 to 20 range. So let me know what you guys think, which brings us to the next player on this list, which is Quinshon Judkins. So I'm going to speed this up, bro. I don't want this video to be long as fuck, but Quinshon Judkins is expected to be the lead back for the Browns. Now, the Browns are expected to be the worst offense in the NFL, but he's hyper-talented. He was a 3-down back in college, but the Browns are going to be ass. But are they going to be ass? Because, they got some good receivers, a really good tight end, now a couple of good running backs. If they can just figure out that quarterback situation and their defense can be like, rather than 32nd, if their defense can be like 24th in the NFL, this offense might actually be able to surprise us, right? So they just need to figure out the quarterback situation. If it's Flacco, I think we're pretty happy. If it's one of the young guys, we're probably sad, and it's going to be a rough season for them, and they're going to be kind of building for the future, building for, future value. But Quinshon is expected to be the lead guy on this offense, man. And whenever we have a situation where we have a highly drafted workhorse 3-down running back, even for a bad team, you can't rank him any lower than 24th, right? We just can't. Like, I know a lot of the industry does have him around like the 20, 23, 22 range. I just can't put him. I can't put him any lower than this man. I just think like you can even make the argument that he should be above Henderson just in terms of like year-long workload. But yeah, it's the receiving work that gives me that separates them from me, because we don't know if Judkins is going to be the receiving back. It could be that they want to continue to use Ford or Dylan Sampson, right? I think his name is the other dude that they draft, the other rookie. So, which brings us. I'm actually going to move Quinchon to tier 6. Brings us to Caleb Johnson, who's the next player. Now, Caleb Johnson is somebody that he's like the perfect profile of, how do I say this without getting fucking roasted? He's kind of a trap RB in my opinion. So he joins a Steelers backfield where this team views him as a workhorse running back, that they want to feed this man touches. I think there's even a quote where it was like, Caleb Johnson is a player that can absorb a high volume of touches. Now, are those going to be valuable touches? Are they going to be receptions? Are they going to be red zone stuff, right? Is Aaron Rodgers going to trust a rookie running back like Caleb Johnson, where in the past, Aaron Rodgers really hasn't trusted rookies very much? Jaylen Warren, being one of the better pass blocking running backs, might just keep him on the field, man. So Caleb Johnson is somebody that I think as the offseason progresses could move further down my list. It's just he's an RB2 off of volume only, which is a trap, right? That's a dead zone running back by definition. So that's why I'm a little bit concerned. The thing that gives me some hope is that he's a rookie, that this team seems like they're going to be feeding him quite a lot. Arthur Smith does want to run the ball a lot. But Arthur Smith has been known to be a cheeky rat bastard when it comes to running back usage. So we could see Jaylen Warren, dude, being an absolute thorn in Caleb Johnson's side, dude. I can totally envision a scenario where both Caleb Johnson and Jaylen Warren end the season as like RB 30 and 31, which will be bad news, right? That would be bad news for both players. I mean, maybe not for Warren. That might be a come up, but that's why I can't put Caleb any higher. This offense could be either a solid run first, grind the clock. Think Atlanta Falcons when they had Desmond Ridder. Like Aaron Rodgers now is kind of like a Desmond Ridder. That sounds fucking blasphemic, but yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not very mobile. I don't think he can make all the same crazy Rodgers-esque type throws. It's kind of a barren receiver room. It's like DK Metcalf and really no one else. Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, dude, who's coming off an injury. I just don't know, man. I'm not too excited about this Steelers offense. And because of that, I can't put Caleb any higher. He might actually fall down my rankings. And we close this out with probably the surprise of my rankings, which is Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon, dude. Joe Mixon now gets joined by Nick Chubb. Both guys, if you had them in 2021, you'd be feeling hella stoked about your fantasy season. But Joe Mixon now, RB8 in total points in 2024 off of ridiculous volume with not a lot of efficiency. Top 6 in opportunity share and red zone touches. So all the metrics are pointing up, right? Like, okay, like this is a workhorse running back for a, I think, good offense. But his efficiency continues to decline, bro. Every season, Joe Mixon's efficiency has declined. 22nd explosive run rate, or explosive run rate. This team might have to look elsewhere, dude. They might have to have a little bit of a committee going on, because you bring in Nick Chubb. What does he still have left in the tank? What if he's a little bit more explosive than Mixon? You now have a very horrible situation where if you draft Mixon as your RB2 and he ends up giving you RB3 numbers, you can be very sad, dude. I might, similarly to Caleb, I might be moving Mixon down my rankings. I just want to say this, man. If you're going to draft any running back after Kenneth Walker, you want to make sure that you're getting the dudes with upside. Omarion Hampton, Harvey, Henderson, those three, it's almost like those three and no one else. But because this is a rankings video, we have to rank them. I just think Joe Mixon is getting older. They bring in Woody Marks, who he's got some explosiveness. He's a speedy little receiver. Maybe they use him as a third down back. That takes away a lot of Mixon's receiving upside or his floor. So I don't know, man. I'm just a little bit worried. about Mixon. He's getting older. They bring in Chubb. The offense wasn't as good as we thought it would be. Nico is going to be the alpha on this team, or at least he should be. I think we're going to see some regression in Mixon, especially in the touchdown department. Whew, this is a long one, bro. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Hope you're still here. If you're here, I really appreciate it, man. A like is the best way to show support. And if you're new here, a subscribe if you want to catch more of this stuff all off season. Let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know if you disagree or agree with these rankings. Let me know who I have too high or too low, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.